ENS, one thing that it does is with the immutability, I like that it guarantees that I have that username, right? So if every website used that as my login, I wouldn't have to worry about getting on Twitter first to get McBags or, Reddit to get that username or like, I don't know. So like that's an improvement, that interoperability part.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. What are there examples that come to mind? Like how does, how either does or how would Web3 improve upon kind of these Web 2 things?
Well, I mean, I think that's a great example with ENS, and it's kind of like a broader thing about what Web3 is trying to do in general, which is there was no centralizing force which says, hey, we're going to create the internet in such a way that people are totally trapped into whatever platforms they create their account on, and then we can just like manipulate them and force them to abide by like, potentially like morally outrageous terms of conduct or censor them in such a way that they feel afraid to say things because otherwise we're just going to strip them of their accounts, right? There was no like centralizing identity at the start of the internet that decided to make that happen. What happened is you had a bunch of people creating things, and we didn't create an interoperable standard which said, hey, why don't we let users of the internet own their own identity and we all follow this standard, and then we can just take that identity from the standard protocol, and everybody owns their identity. We didn't do that. Instead, Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and everything just said, hey, this is our platform, and we need some sort of identity for our platform, so let's create one. And so it just happened in actually a very decentralized fashion. But the value that it created was one that said that you shouldn't own your own identity. That shouldn't, be something that you fully control. So with Web3, we're able to say, let's create these values in the base level of a new internet that says, you own your own identity with ENS or with Handshake or whatever, or even with Nostr, right? That identity that you create on Amethyst is transferred automatically when you go to some other platform on Nostr. What do they have? Damus, Amethyst. I think there's a whole host of them. Anybody can create their own kind of social on the Nostr platform. And then not only your identity, but all of the content that you post is on the base chain, and all of these websites basically that are built on top of it are just pulling that information from basically something that you control and nobody else does, which is a better way to do it. It's a more interoperable way, but then we also make sure that those values align with what we want, which is decentralized and privacy preserving.